Dateline, August 28th, 2020. Our top stories tonight. First up, Wizards of the Coast finally reveals long-awaited details of this year's Commander set, Commander Legends, and we'll give you our take on what is perhaps the most important detail of all, the price point. Stay tuned.
Dragon Ball Super has pushed back the release date of Vermilion Bloodline. Could this mean a slowdown of Dragon Ball Super product? We'll tell you the new dates and give you our thoughts on the pushback.
Next up, Yu-Gi-Oh! Reveals the name of its December release, Genesis Impact, but remains tight-lipped about the set's contents. We'll talk about the secondary market and if Konami is making the right move.
Plus, we've got some reminders of important dates, the sideboard, and all of your favorite segments here on the TCGNN podcast, your podcast for trading card game news.
First story tonight is Commander Legends. If we didn't have enough Wizards of the Coast products this year, Commander Legends comes out in November. We're not really going to talk too much about the cards or really what's in it. What's interesting to me is the price point. $125 a box for 20 card packs. So after going $100 for 20 card packs, they're going the complete opposite way.
No. So I'm obviously not a Magic player, but Commander is meant to be the readily accessible version of Magic for anyone who wants to play casually. Like, this seems like a fantastic product. It's coming out right during the holiday season. It's not quite Black Friday holiday season, but a release date of November makes this highly readable for the holiday shopping period.
Oh, yeah. And like Fluff said, Commander is for casual players, and really just everybody enjoys the format. Well, everybody that plays Magic and plays the format. I'm saying players of all levels, not every single human being.
Right.
Yeah. But it's just interesting to me that after all of the hullabaloo and craziness that's going on with their top-end cards, they print a 24-pack box that's just a little bit more than the pack. I know I already said that. There isn't really much meat to this story at this point. Anyone else have any thoughts here?
It does look like that they're going to be doing pre-release events for this on October 30th. They're going to be offering at-home and in-store pre-release events. So something
I think
to
it's pretty nice.
to.
An at-home one, that's pretty nice, I think.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
They did the Magic Fest in a box earlier this year. I wonder if it's going to be something along those lines.
They have been doing an amazing job, just outright killing it in the post-COVID-19 landscape. I don't think I've seen any other card games doing at-home events that aren't like digital webcam events. So that's really cool.
And actually, I don't. Maybe maybe I didn't catch it. This is the actual first legitimate draft for Commander.
Yeah, this is the first time Commander will be a draft format. I don't know how that's going to work. Do you get to pick 2 cards a selection? How many people are in the pod? It's really interesting and exciting for me personally because I like limited formats.
So,
right, well, then this means that you and I have to have differing opinions as always. Honestly, this reeks of desperation to me, but that's just sort of how it looks to me. Is that it's like, hey, we know that our tried and true format standard is not doing so hot. I mean, at least from a outsider looking in, it's not nearly as illustrious as it used to be. I mean, I knew a lot of Magic players who took pride in being a standard player, so to speak.
Not nearly as popular as it used to be.
No, and I think they're just sort of desperation's probably too harsh of a word, but I think it definitely shows a shift that Wizards is well aware of in the community, that Commander is sort of king now, so to speak. And I think
play. It uses more. It has more selection of cards to pull from too. I mean, I think that's why.
I think it gives a lot of people the opportunity to be unique as well. I mean, Um, honestly, Bancroft in Dragon Ball, I think that's one of the things I love most about you as a player is that you do come up with some unique decks. I think Commander is a format that if you chose to get back into Magic, you'd thrive in because it gives you an opportunity to really look at different angles or different leaders and different archetypes or different kind of avenues that'll absolutely work. Because, I mean, worst case scenario, if it doesn't, probabilistically speaking, you've got 100 cards, so can't do that bad.
And there's
Um,
3 other players at the table, so you can
right.
always just politic your way to the top.
Yeah, and I think it's desperation's probably too harsh, but I definitely think it shows a sign that Wizards is very well aware of the fact that Commander is here to stay, Commander is beloved, and that Commander is where they can go, and this is their opportunity to really trying to, I would say, get a little bit more out of the player base than they normally would.
It just seems like to me that Commander is not gated behind, you know, the competitive, like everyone's got to have, you know, 3 of these $175 cards to play blue right now, or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah,
It seems like Commander has done a lot to prevent that because what is it, the singleton rule where you can only
Yep.
play one card in the draft. Of course, they've removed that because you might pull duplicates and you just can't avoid that in a
Yeah.
sealed draft environment. So I think this is a really like for me as an outsider looking in that doesn't really play Magic. I think this is a great way to do it. And if someone were to try to get me to play Magic, it would have to be in this setting. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
wink, wink,
You could
nudge,
always
nudge.
borrow one of my decks, Fluff.
I think it's really
Honest,
interesting.
honestly, I punch babies when I play Magic, so I probably shouldn't, but I might.
Here at TCGNN, we do not support the punching of babies unless it's super, super rad.
Or you're on a
Um, but I do think, from what I understand, there really isn't a meta, so to speak, in Commander. There isn't like an all powerful deck that is $10,000. At least to my understanding, there isn't. I mean, I'm very
well,
uninformed in that. So
there is what people call CEDH or competitive Elder Dragon Highlander, and typically Commander is governed by a group of players that aren't part of Wizards, and they advocate something called the un, what is the name? Not the golden rule. It's like the social contract. That's the name for it. So basically, when you sit down at a table with other people playing Commander decks, you all agree that your decks are within about 2 or 3 power levels of each other. And people who play CEDH decks or decks that go off and on turn 4 and try and win or win with an infinite combo or something like that very early, those players um, won't enjoy playing those decks against your elf tribal, goblin tribal deck. They'll bring out their angel tribal deck and play against you that way. Commander is really more about having fun than crushing people. Now, the CEDH players love to crush people, but they love to crush people that also love to crush people.
It's a good way to find spots for every variety of player too. So,
Yeah. I'm in a couple of Discord groups where people play Commander online. Uh, Spoilers, I might be working on a video about that. And they break down all the power levels and give examples of commanders and decks that are at certain power levels. So when you go to find a game, you're like, hey, my deck's a 7. I'd like to play with people from 5 to 9 in a power level. Or I'd like to play people just at 7, or
do I have to bring my scouter?
um no, I think Vegeta does that for you.
Okay, cool, cool. Just want to make sure. Um, with that being said, I feel like in our Wizards topics, I'm typically the one uh, trying to bash them, but I've got to really give them kudos for embracing this. The more I think about it, I think mystery boosters were sort of a backhanded or backdoor way to support Commander, and I think this is another great way of doing that. And I think that knowing what I know about the Commander decks, they make it a point to put in powerful cards I think they're doing a great job supporting this format and sort of taking that balancing act of um, welcoming new players while simultaneously embracing the older player base that has cards they probably haven't played in a decade. I think it's a really interesting thing. I never really thought Wizards would embrace this format. I mean, I remember playing EDH, and it was sort of I mean, it was truly a player run,
Yeah.
fan supported format.
I mean,
And
Mark Rosewater used to famously look down his nose at Commander. Like,
yeah,
and now here he is designing products for it.
yeah. But good on Wizards, honestly.
It's fantastic.
Was partner skill, I guess, a couple years ago, and they took away? Because I'm reading more into this. They're bringing partners back for this particular mechanic, so that way you can have two commanders.
It wasn't necessarily taken away. It's typically only in Commander products. So usually partner, well, I'd say always partner cards are from a product that's specifically designed for Commander. Like there were partner cards in the most recent the C20 Commander decks that just came out.
It allows your deck to be tricolor or potentially quad color if you wanted to go that route, which I think is interesting.
And the flexibility of having two commanders is nice
sure.
as well.
Yeah.
I've never played a partner deck myself, but they look quite fun.
Out of curiosity, I know typically when a commander dies, it's 2 extra mana to bring it back out.
Yep.
Now, does that affect both commanders or just that said one?
I've never played a partner commander. I can't tell you 100%.
Fair enough.
but I feel like tax is separate on each one, but I'm not sure. All right, listeners, we played our one drop and turned it sideways. Here come some dates to the face.
All right. August 29th is Double Mastered Seals Championship on MTG Arena. September 5th, 12th, 19th, and 27th are all big webcam events for Dragon Ball Super. On September 25th, Magic the Gathering releases Zendikar Rising. Lastly, October 1st, Yugioh will release Sisters of the Rose, and the pre-release for Dragon Ball Super Vermilion Bloodline will now be held October 2nd and 8th. More on this later. Since we're pushing it back, I'll slow it down. And with that, let's talk about that pushback.
Tanner, do you want to get us up to speed about that pushback? You seem like you're on a roll there.
Yeah, it's so essentially from what I gathered, the Dragon Ball Super Facebook page put out a post basically saying that they are going to push Vermilion Bloodline back to October 2nd and 8th. And I think that this is long overdue. I think Bandai has, for better or for worse, really trudged along or continued to go forward in this COVID era. And they were doing their best to try to, they were honestly doing their best to try to appease a player base. Draftbox 5 came at a very inopportune time. They tried to make a second release for that. And then COVID hit. They didn't explicitly say don't do locals, but they canceled all their major events. They canceled anything that was basically going to be run by a TO of their choice. But they pushed the anniversary box a little bit back, and even still, players were a little bit felt like the releases were coming too close. And I think it's really important that they did this set and pushed it back. I mean, we joked about the last 2 episodes. I had a day counter on it. I mean, we were getting to the 40 days, 40 nights type thing. When a Catholic Lent is almost longer than your time between set releases, you kind of have a problem. I mean, like, I just picture like Jesus in the desert being like, "You won't tempt me with another set," and the devil's like, "Don't worry, it's coming out in less than 40 days. Like, you're good, bro." So with that being said, I think Bandai did a really good thing there by pushing that back and sort of giving everybody a chance to breathe. Um, on that note as well, when we look at those dates that we talked about 3 episodes ago and then have talked about in the subsequent episodes, um, literally only 2 of those were going to be dates with the current meta. and then people were going to be scrambling to try to find the next set of cards. That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing in this COVID era. It's just not a good thing in general.
Well,
In
I
my
think
opinion.
so to me it comes twofold, right? Like number one, there's also there's the financial limitations of like crap, we've got to buy another set's worth of cards. But I think more importantly, to me anyway, is this is a really enjoyable meta right now in the Dragon Ball game. It's very wide, it's very dispersed. There's very few problems in the game as far as like overpowered. This isn't the time or place to discuss that, but the set 10 meta / anniversary box meta has been genuinely enjoyable. And when you talk about the time in between major sets being less than a commitment for Lent, you just lose out on that really enjoyable time. You don't get to enjoy where we're at. So I wouldn't have been upset at all if they didn't push this back. If they push this back further, if they were to take it to like November or something, I would have been fine with that.
Yeah, that's what, 5 locals? I get
Yeah.
to play my deck 5 times, and it's outdated.
Yeah, that's not a fun time.
And
I
I
do
couldn't
think
agree more that the anniversary box added so much to this current meta.
Yeah, it really did.
I do think it's interesting to note as well that, and correct me if I'm wrong, you guys have been a lot more involved in looking at the cards, but we're finally getting more unison interaction in this next set, correct? I feel like introducing a set with more unison interaction before we even really fully understand basic unison interaction is probably not good for the game. The surprise on somebody's face when you put a unison under a unison and get a marker and sort of the interactions between unisons is still very fresh, quite frankly.
Yeah, people are still figuring it out. I mean, there are ruling disagreements and things that come up almost every time we play. Nearly every week there's always some like, wow, is that really how that works? Or we need to figure this out or get an answer on that. And a lot of it has to do with new mechanics, different things, the new cards and how they interact. So making the game this fast, and I think it might be a problem with how Dragon Ball designs their cards. They really design their cards with the intent of the next box is going to feel a little bit more powerful than the last, which is going to feel a little bit more powerful than the last, which is going to feel a little bit more powerful than the last. So when you get 2 or 3 sets removed from a set, it's almost not like there are cards that came out this time last year that were meta decks that aren't even meta relevant right now. Like we're $20 last year and they're $2 or $3 now. I mean,
yeah.
Around this time last year, Parasitic Menace, I think, was just starting to trend up to a $50 card because we knew Baby was coming in the next set. And now, I mean, Baby with the Championship Pack Volume 2 card, kind of seeing a little bit more popularity, but even still, it's not the deck that was a powerhouse almost a year ago.
Meta defining. The only deck that I can think of from like set 6 that is still incredibly relevant is Kid Coop.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the only leader that I can think of that's still relevant from like set 6 before. And then you look at set 7, I think maybe there's one there. But
set 7, I think set 7 is a weird set because you basically know that that's the counterplay set. But as an archetype, you had Raditz, which is garbage.
Which never got any traction.
King Vegeta, which might see some play.
I think King Vegeta is French, just no one's figured him out.
Yeah, that's around. U6, which is a lot of people's like, I just can't quit you kind of deck. I'm one of those people. I love that archetype. There was an original Kaioken Goku in that one as well. Total garbage. Trying to think. There was the hit U6 lead. Who am I forgetting? There was as far as leaders go, there was the Red Broly. I know that one. I'm not that one. I definitely will never forget.
Bernhard was that set too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Burnhon. That's the one that I think will see some love again. I think that one, and I think they really want that deck to see some love. Like, I really do think they're making it a point to try and.
I don't want to spoil anything, but Bancroft has been working on something this weekend that I think with the Burnhon leader will be like the meanest thing.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, it's mean. Like, yeah, I won't give it away because he's still working on it, but super good.
No. I will say actually, Burnham was set 7. Keep that in mind, not 6.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, that's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I heard someone say set 6. That's what threw me off, I guess. Because I'm looking over at Tanner like, come on, what's the one set 6 that everyone knows I play? Come on. Just want to make sure.
Oh, we're talking about good.
I'm not giving you that vindication.
What's wrong with it? It's a good leader.
Sounds
Real
so
quick,
sad.
on the cards being pushed back, I don't know if the premium pack was originally set for October 9th, but it's still set for that. If it was set with the release of the booster packs or not. But that is coming out the same day as of right now.
I'm
Premium
curious.
packs were staggered like a week behind the set, I think.
Maybe they'll
Well,
just put it all out at once.
They might just put it all out.
That's what it's looking like. And they still haven't, because next is supposed to be. Is it supposed to be Unison 3 or Draft Box 6?
Yeah,
We
I know
don't know
Draft Box 6 is coming out though. Unfortunately,
We don't have a date for either.
Okay.
I don't even think that. Well, I say that, and then.
There is. I checked the site.
There is.
There
DB6.
is not. I've already checked the site. Also, I mean, I really don't mind stuff getting pushed back because it gives more opportunity for potential people to do these. You mentioned the September webcam dates. You know, there's a way for people to get the opportunity to get these cards that are just hard to get right now. And to think about it, maybe that's one of the good things of COVID. There's more and more online events, which gives people more and more opportunities to get these cards. Granted, I'm still waiting if I get in or not, but
Me too.
We all are. I don't think anyone knows.
no, you
Not me.
won't know.
I didn't sign up.
You didn't sign up? Oh man.
No.
You won't know until if I'm correct, like a couple days beforehand. Because Jimmy was part of a. He had an event. I think it was next weekend. I think, but they just started doing, I think it's this weekend. They just started doing their rounds, and he got his notification like a day or two ago, because he's actually part of the last set of duels. So.
Okay. So there's still time if you if you signed up.
Yeah, because you can't sign up anymore.
Yeah.
This is really bothering me. I'm trying to figure out what the blue leaders were in that set. Oh, that's right. Crappy Vegeta and Zamasu. Yeah, that's right. Don't sleep on Zamasu.
Yeah.
No,
And
sleep on it. I'm so tired of messing with it. Sleep on it. I think I said in one of our early recordings for TCGNN or one of the other videos that we did that I was like, Samasu's gonna be no, it's trash. Just stop. Don't even. It's trash. It's trash.
It's trash.
The only other thing coming out for Dragon Ball Super related that it's not getting pushed. I think it's staying in its November date. They just haven't given an official date yet. Will be the expansion sets 14 and 15.
Oh no! Are we gonna get more plastic deck boxes?
It does not look like it. It just looks like it comes with dice. It has an official dice finally for use for your markers, and so it gives a little plastic disc that they advertise in all their videos. They're gonna give us a dice, which it's a better idea. Give someone a dice.
I like dice.
Rage.
What if they do plastic boxes again?
You don't want plastic boxes?
You don't want 2 of the same deck box 2 times?
I think that's a no.
4 of the same deck box 2 times?
Oh yeah. Oh, there's another one in your box that's been unopened. Hope you know that.
Can I have some of those if you don't want them?
I mean, everything has a price and everything is for sale. So
okay. I don't need them.
I'll give you this nickel size worth of land.
Hang on. Everything has a price. Is that what you just said?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you have your own little market over there.
I do have my own little market over here. Dare I say,
Are you watching it?
I'm watching it.
Up next, we've got Tanner's Market.
I was trying to do a segment, like, oh, you're
Oh no, that's what I was
selling.
saying. That's why I said I'm watching it. Yeah,
I don't have
Market-
time for it. Just do it.
market's trash. Don't buy cards right now. Chill the fuck out. All right, good
Wait,
market watch.
you don't
guys.
want to buy the new Super Saiyan 3 Gohan that just got a buyout on?
Did someone buy out on it?
Yeah.
and I literally told everybody. I said, buy this card at $25 a piece, and everybody's like, it's gonna go down more, and I'm like, no, it's
No,
not. It's gonna
no.
go up.
It bought out. It's up to, I think, $50 a card right now.
Yeesh.
Gosh. I was
I think-
literally waiting for money to come in, and I was going to buy my place.
All right, you know what? Getting locked and loaded here. This is actually a very simple market lesson, and I want to be very clear about this. It's a very short one, but it's a very important one. $25 for a card is not expensive.
No.
Just, you know what? Hold on. You know what? This is really important. This is actually game breaking important. Hold on. $25 for a card is not expensive. Boo, lame. All right. Now that my soundboard is done, I feel vindicated. So I think this is a very important lesson. It's supply and demand, essentially. So we've kind of touched on it every week since we've done a market watch, but that if a card is good, but its art type is currently not being played, you need to buy the card while it's cheap. It's just the bottom line. And when it's a promo, and this game is notorious for promos being an issue, buy the card while it's cheap. And unfortunately, I hate to break it to everybody, $25 a card is not expensive. Now, this is where we're gonna have a Dr. Phil moment here. We're gonna change this market watch to the hey, let's have some difficult conversations watch. If you want to be a competitive player, you want to spend the money as if you're a competitive player, or you want to optimize your deck to the fullest extent. You have to understand that there is going to be a point in time where there is a card that is a linchpin or imperative to your deck success that is going to be expensive. And if you really do think you've broken the formula, you have this deck that is game breaking or incredible, or you think you understand a card that nobody else has figured out yet, have the conviction to buy it when it seems like it's expensive. There are a lot of people in January who would have killed to pay $20 per Goku ape. A lot. Our host here, Jake, is going to get one back. I'm making amends, and I'm giving him his Goku ape back because I bought one from him at $20. So
They were $20 at the time.
they were $20. They were 15 at the time. I overpaid. With that being said, if a card is good or you think it's good, buy it while it's relatively cheap. And as much as I hate to say that, that's part of being a competitive player. If you enjoy your decks that are cheaper, you enjoy playing archetypes that aren't quite as powerful, that's fantastic. And I wish I had more of that personally because I'd enjoy the game a lot more and my wife would hate me a lot less. But with that being said, that is my market lesson.
I think there's a lot of times, just to kind of play devil's advocate towards that point, because I agree with you. If you think a card's good, get it. For me, I know, like, I will watch a card. Like, you'll see them downtrend. And then, like, on Gohan, I've literally watched that card go from $35 to $24. And I was like, okay, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for things to be right in my life personally to buy them. And then they just jump up. Like, I could have bought them, but a lot of times, like, if you look at stuff like Jiren from the last round of tournament, those were sitting at like $25 forever, and they're like $7 now, and they didn't jump back up. But you just never know when something is going back up. That's the trouble.
stock market. I mean,
Yeah.
try to buy it when you think it's low and hope it goes up.
And
But
that's what I'm. But this game is notorious. Like, if you love an archetype, buy that archetype. I mean, because this game is going to recycle an archetype. It just is. There's a limited amount of IP, even if they dig deep into the hero's barrel. Gogeta is always going to be a popular character. Vegito is always going to be a popular character. If you love playing Vegito, buy your Vegito stuff right now, because it was trash in set 7. It was trash in every other set, but they're going to try to make it good. And one of those cards that's trash is going to be halfway decent. So buy it right now when it's $2 for an SPR.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and that's like, Matt is committed to Gogeta since set 6. We love him for it. But if you love Gogeta and you're all about Gogeta and that's the deck you want to play during set 7, 8, 9, and 10, buy those cards at $2 a pop. Buy the whole deck for less than $20. If you love an archetype, buy that archetype while it's cheap. This is strictly Dragon Ball.
No, it 100% applies to other games like Yu-Gi-Oh. If there's something like for me, I played Frogs for 8 years in Yu-Gi-Oh or something like that, but I hollowed the entire deck out. I had max rarities on everything, and I just bought piecemeal things that I thought would eventually go into them. And I never spent more than 30 or 40 bucks at a time. But when there was something that was really good that I knew that was going to go in it, that was going to be meta relevant, you paid out cash for it and you rolled that dice. Either it went up or it went down. Like, it works for everything.
And you don't hit every time. Sometimes
Absolutely not.
I've spent $20, $30 on a playset of card and end up never using it. But you can always trade them. You can always put them back online if you don't use them. So it's not a 100% loss if you never actually play the cards yourself.
So there's a prime example of a card right now in Dragon Ball that has just fluctuated from $8 to $20 back down to $13. It is a recent card. I want my 3 distinguished members of the panel to guess which card that is. Started at 6, went to 20, back down to 13.
What set is it from?
I'm not going to tell you, just a recent set. Which
Recent.
gives you anniversary box and Rise of the Unison Warrior.
I'm gonna go with Trunks, the counterplay.
Okay, Jake.
I think I'm gonna say the Vegeta counterplay, the yellow one.
Okay, Bancroft.
I don't know.
No guess.
I said Frieza counterplay.
Oh, Frieza counterplay. All right, you guys passed the important part of the question, which is not knowing that it was Bunny Girl Bulma, because all you all don't look like creeps now, but it was Bunny Girl Bulma.
My side. That's why I didn't even think about. I don't need to buy that card.
Right,
You said
but
that last week.
yeah, it is a card that is just fluctuated up and down. It's a very, very good card. So if you don't have a set of those right now, do you buy it at 13 in hopes that it doesn't shoot up again? Or do you wait for it to go down to 8 and try to save $16 for a play set? Is $16. So that's how I've evaluated a card. So your neg, if you buy it right now at 13, based on its lowest low and its highest high, you risk to lose 16 extra dollars. You risk saving 16 extra dollars, or you risk having to pay 32 more dollars than you would right now.
Well, I was referring to the God Sealing Technique Trunks.
Yeah,
When the set first came out, him and Zeno were like $3 to $5 a piece. They jumped up to about 10 a piece. Right now, the super rare variant of that card is sitting at $18. Like,
yeah.
I-
Honestly, yeah. It's,
I mean, you should have, if you were gonna play blue, if you're really interested in playing blue, get those. Like,
right. I think people need to buy that grade 8 Mass Sand right now at 84. That card's a great card.
oh my god, yeah, that's. If you're hype over something for the new set and you see it now, but be intelligent about your hype. because like when Anniversary Box got announced and we started seeing all the stuff, we got the Vegito support. The old set 2 Vegetos went up to like $25 a piece, and the SPRs on those went up to like $45 a piece. That deck is going to be fun. It's never going to be meta relevant. Wait for the hype to die down. You know, give yourself 2 or 3 weeks. I was just thinking about that just now. Union Force, those cards, when Anniversary set came out, the SPR on that was sitting at like $35, $40. It's back down to $12. Like, if you really want one of those now, like, get it now. Like,
Right. And if you were in the game a year ago when the original Anniversary Box came out, you would know that this would happen because the SPR Frieza from set 1 shot up to $50 a pop and stayed there for a little while.
I think I traded I got a Vegeta or a Frieza off of you right before the Anniversary set was announced.
Mhm.
And you made that comment. You were like, you realized that card went way up. I was like, oh, that's nice, but it's not going to stay that way.
No,
Like,
and it wasn't.
Yeah.
I will say, and this will be my last little bit of actual market watch. I think everybody should be very, very careful on Draft Box 5. Right now is a very tumultuous time for that. There are some cards that I think there are some cards that you need to get in on right now at the price point they're at. There's some cards that you could probably wait, and there's some cards that are at a premium price, but you risk them being at an even more premium price. Rebrand is down $20 at $60 a pop. I don't think that card is a $60 card, but it's the best card out of the set, arguably. So I personally wouldn't buy that card at that price point, but if you love green and hand control, consider saving yourself $20. I would say do not buy, however. Obuni is $65. That card is incredible. I do not believe it'll get banned.
I think that there's I'm going to put it at like a 40% chance that card's on the chopping block to some degree.
Right.
With the new leader.
Right. I think the card that you should buy at its current price is Kaioken Son Goku at $36 a piece. I think that is a steal. That card is incredible. Bergamo, for whatever reason, has just stayed steadily at $40. Think that card's a bit overrated, but it's still a staple.
The other one to really look at, and I don't know that if you know this one or not, but Hit Deadly Vanguard.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would not pay that price for it though.
I would pick them up now.
I
that
bought mine.
I mean, I've already got them, but but that is tailor made for the new baby deck that's going to come out. He's going to be a 4-drop in hand that can be played for no energy during turns that the unison goes off. So I think that card is good. Right. Pick those up. Don't wait for those to get up to 60, 70, 80, 90.
My pick would be Kinkunsa Beastly Maiden. That card's incredible.
Yeah.
That card's incredible. $17. It kills Cell-X. The card that is gone up quite a bit in price, that was at $10 a piece, was the Crit Frieza. But my final point, buy the cards that are below $8 a piece right now in that draft box. Round out your play sets if you got a little bit of extra money, because one of those cards eventually is going to be good. And that's how you stay ahead in the draft box game. Buy them when they're cheap. So that's my last bit of advice. I'm done.
Good advice.
You know, cheap. I could have bought the 10,000 Dragon card when it was $1,000 compared to what it is now.
Oh yeah. I mean, would have made some money.
Yeah. I mean, at least $250 right now is what it's sitting on TCG, $1,250. But
I still think now, if you bought it at the 1,400 that it is now,
it's $1,250.
I think if you bought that now and flipped it in a year and a half, you double your money.
There's a good chance of that. Yeah. But the reason why I mentioned the 10,000 Dragons, because, you know, our next segment is about Yu-Gi-Oh!
What?
New Genesis Impact.
Yeah. Was this a 60 card? Not a boost. Yeah, booster set.
So, yeah.
Fluff, I was going to ask you, there's two things I don't understand going on here.
Okay.
One, they're not telling us what's in the set as this point, and is this typical behavior for Konami this far out? And two, are sets in Yu-Gi-Oh typically only 60 cards?
No. So much in the way that like in the Dragon Ball game where we would have like set 4, theme booster 1, set 2, theme booster, and they would just kind of alternate. Yu-Gi-Oh does something similar to that.
Okay.
It's unclear to me if that's what this is, but to my knowledge, I believe that Yu-Gi-Oh sets are, I think they're about 190 to 120 typically.
Okay.
So last official Rise of the Duelist had, Rise of the Duelist had over 100 cards in it. I don't know how many exactly. Just kind of quick searching here. At least 100. So this is a little bit smaller of a set. But a lot of what they'll do is they'll go back to the anime and they'll pick like 1 or 2 characters, and they will just highlight like that character's anime deck or manga deck and bring that to life in the TCG.
It's been some time. It's been some time. How many cards come in a Yu-Gi-Oh pack? Again, is it 10?
9, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's about 9.
Okay.
It might be 8, but yeah, it's not a lot.
I'm reading over it. If that is the case, 1 foil card, which could either be ultra rare or a super rare, then 6 rares, and then 2 other common or uncommon cards, or did they just fit 15? Are there common uncommons?
Let's see. So this is what it says.
No,
so,
there isn't. So these packs just have 7 cards in them then?
It's possible.
Let's see. This booster set will be released in December and contains 60 cards in total, which breaks down to 10 ultra rares, 15 super rares, 35 rares, with 15 cards in the set available as collectors. Each pack will sell for $4 and contain 1 foil card and 6 rare cards. While we have some,
that's 75 cards, not 60 cards.
Maybe the collector's rares don't count as part of the set.
The collector's rares are the collector's rares are available in lower rarities. Usually it's ultra rare or super rare. So.
Gotcha.
But so the collector's rares are going to be like if you bought a case of this, you'd want to look for the collector's rares to make your money back, not the ultra rares, not the super rares.
Okay.
Kind of a descriptional blurb about the set. I know it kind of changes up the mechanic on ritual summoning. Classic Yu-Gi-Oh rituals. If you were summoning a level 8 monster, you had to offer monsters whose level were 8 or more. This kind of takes away the level requirement and instead looks at attack requirements. So if a monster has 2,000, the monsters tributed have to have 2,000 or more attack. So the little blurb says, Alistair, Vare, and Demion, you know their names, but how well do you really know them? Genesis Impact delves deep into the secret history of some of dueling's most famous spellcasters. To get the full story, you'll need to manage Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, and Link Summoning all in the same deck.
So your main question.
My main question, thank you, Tanner, about this set was they're not telling us what's in it. And it seems to me that they're trying to keep people from buying cards while they're cheap, much as we advise people to do, in order to prepare for the set coming out.
So the TCG trails the OCG, right? And it's not really always easy because so the TCG being the North American game, the OCG being basically the game everywhere else in the world. A set that comes out in the OCG does not get an equivocal set in the TCG. So there are some sets that will get combined into like 2 and then released as an American set. There are some sets that get split up. There are some sets that just get missed entirely and we don't get. There are sets that we get that they don't get, the way that I understand it. So I will do some research. I don't think it's that they're preventing people from participating in like market scandals or, buying up cards and doing, because I'm sure that we know exactly what this set will have somewhere.
Okay. That's reassuring. Tanner, do you have any input on this?
Does it involve Yu-Gi-Oh?
Well, yeah.
Then no.
So okay,
I do have an opinion, as always, if you'd like me to have an opinion.
Always.
I can have an opinion on anything.
So this is a TCG release of the OCG Booster Pack Genesis Impactors. So you can actually see what includes in that, and it will introduce the Dryatron and Majestus archetypes to the TCG. So,
Okay. People in the know already have a pretty good idea of what's in this set.
yeah, people who are following what's going on in the OCG, this looks like this set came out, well, is scheduled to come out September 12th in the OCG. So we'll get it about 2 months after the OCG.
Yeah. It said December in the article, I think.
Yeah. So OCG December 12th, TCG December 2nd or 4th.
All right.
So
Very cool stuff.
I think Konami may be trying to break the secondary market, but what about when a player breaks the game?
Oh, that leads right into our discussion topic for tonight. So, I don't speak Japanese, but I'm going to make an attempt here at this gentleman's name. Atsushi Nagashima? Is that the right way to say it?
That sounds passable.
Nagashima. Yeah. I think it's right.
Atsushi Nagashima.
Hey, I was close.
You were good.
Pokemon.com did an interview with him recently. He was the lead designer on the Darkness Ablaze set that we lightly reported on in previous episodes. But what was most interesting to me is a small quote he had within the interview where he talked about how it was exciting for him when players found combinations that weren't found in testing. And I just think that's such an interesting take to have on it. He's excited and interested by that, whereas I feel like a lot of game designers would be frustrated or quick to ban things, kind of like we saw with the Viara situation in DBS. So, what is your guys' take on players breaking the game?
Am I at least alive? Because my camera is frozen.
Your camera does appear frozen, but I can hear you.
I can hear you.
I think it's kind of an interesting take, and I think as a designer, you probably need to be happy that somebody found something you didn't see, because that means your set wasn't so formulaic that it couldn't be broken. Yeah, I feel like that is the trap of the TCG, is to be overly safe or overly ambitious to a point where creativity doesn't thrive. So, as from a creator standpoint, I applaud him in that regard, because it means he's happy that his product wasn't just, copy paste, soft serve, here's your vanilla ice cream, here's your vanilla, you know what I mean? I that's my take on it.
No, I totally agree with that.
And Pokemon as a card game in general, they either have some of the best game testers in the world, or they're incredibly intelligent by design. I mean, if you go back and look at like banned cards, currently Pokemon has 0 banned cards in their standard format.
Wow.
And cycle though, right? Or they drop sets.
In the games, in the expanded format, which is whatever you want to play, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 banned cards. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And, I don't know how far back expanded goes, specifically. I know it doesn't go all the way back to the beginning. I think it goes back to black and white, like the black and white formats. But that's really impressive. I mean, when you look at games like Yu-Gi-Oh bans 22 cards a format. Magic, I think Magic bans pretty frequently.
There was a banned list today. Guess what, guys? Field of the Dead's banned in Historic.
Oh.
There's your update on that.
What?
Yeah. So for nothing to be banned in their standard format says a lot. But in regards to the players breaking game, I think it depends. It depends on the nature, right? If it's finding an unintended use for a card, or if it's finding a unfair, uninteractable game. Like, you look back to early Yu-Gi-Oh! With the Yada Lock, with Chaos Emperor Dragon. Or then you look at, I was trying to think of a good Magic analogy, but I don't have any.
Familiar.
Yeah.
Just recently banned.
Just recently. So, those are unfortunate designs of a card game, especially card games that don't rotate out, don't format out. I like it when people think outside the box. I think it's a great thing. I love playing archetype stuff, but I also love seeing the interesting things that people come up with. It's just to me, I think it's a good thing.
And our guest last week, Aaron, brought up an interesting point about how Eastern players and Western players play card games differently. And I thought it was very interesting that an Eastern game designer was more accepting of the Western philosophy of I'm going to find the most broken thing I can possibly do, rather than I'm playing the game to have fun and,
And enjoy my time and my friends and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and that goes to that's such a good point to make, because if you look at most games that have OCG versus TCG, their ban lists are different. The things that one will find as unacceptable versus the others unacceptable are oftentimes not the same. At least variant by 10 to 15 cards in any given moment.
And that could be exacerbated by the internet. And now, at least in Dragon Ball, it seems like or in Magic too, that community outcry can get a card banned.
I think that's what's going to happen with Abuni. I don't think that Abuni. I think so, because people are harping on it so hard. People are so terrified of turn 2, turn 3 Abuni that I think they're going to outcry for that card to get banned. And it's really unfortunate.
That's why I need Bibbidi. I got to protect myself from Obuni. I mean, come on now.
I think if we start seeing turn 3 Obuni, then Kami comes back into the format. 1-drop Black Kami.
Yeah.
You don't need what Black has no defensive options, Jake. What are you talking about? Black's only defensive option is Bibbidi. Hashtag don't ban Bibbidi. Hashtag I'm gonna keep my opinion for myself.
So
ban Bibbidi for the record. Ban that stupid card. But
Bancroft?
Yes, to break Tanner's tangent. I want your opinion, Bancroft, on the players breaking the game. Because you've kind of had this affinity in the Dragon Ball thing. As soon as you kind of get behind a deck that you're like, oh wow, this is really what I want to play, some element of the deck gets hit. What do you like?
It happens every time.
Yeah, a card can be around forever, and Bancroft's like, wow, I think I actually like this card, and then a week later it gets banned. It's silly.
Hey guys, play Red Blue Prison. Unyielding Spirit Trunks banned.
Yeah.
So before I go into my opinion, I love the fact that, for sure, this guy has been, Mr. Nagashima, has been part of the Pokemon TCG since 2001. So, someone who has seen a variety of cards and helped make these cards, and then make new cards, and then make new cards, it's kind of like, okay, cool. And the fact that he said that he actually pretty much enjoys that idea, I agree with that. I do like the idea of players finding ways to, I'm going to say, quote unquote, loopholing other cards to their favor. Now, like Fluff said, every time, I want to say there's been at least 4 decks I think I've made. And every deck of this 4, I'm like, at the peak, I'm like, I really love this deck. This is great. Hit. I'm like, okay, I'll make a new deck. Literally a month later. Hit. Luckily, nothing's been hit yet. No, Vegeta. So, but I mean, Vegeta is something that there are definitely some things where it's like, holy crap, that's a big oversight. Like, how do we not see that? And there's probably like smaller things. I think you mentioned the Yu-Gi-Oh had that lock, right? That wasn't intended, I don't think, was it?
Definitely not.
Yeah.
I mean, they were 3 or 4 sets apart. And like Chaos Emperor Dragon had been in the game for a little bit and had been like an obviously really strong card. But when Yatagarasu came out, or maybe Yatagarasu came out first. Continue. I will.
No, I'm saying, like, but that card was not a well-played card, and all of a sudden this new card comes out, and it makes this card that no one thought of ever using come right back. Like, I think there was a lot of people been playing in the latest Vegeta deck in Dragon Ball Super. I never saw anyone play that 1-drop blocker that you resend with energy. I think when it's KO'd, I never saw anyone play that until Vegeta came out, you know?
Yeah.
And that benefit Vegeto's Awaken and gives you an energy to restand for anything else your opponent wants to play that turn. So I like it. I like when you find cards that practically had no like real value. Like, oh, that's a cool little effect, but I'd rather play this instead. And then later on the road, like, holy crap, these 2 cards were like made for each other. They weren't, but it looks like it. I like it.
I think that's part of the beauty of games like Dragon Ball and Yu-Gi-Oh! And formats like Commander and Magic, where nothing rotates, where we have infinite time to find these interesting combos and interactions. Seemingly.
To me, it's one of the really interesting parts about games like Dragon Ball, Yu-Gi-Oh, as opposed to like Pokemon or Magic that rotate out. Like theoretically, next year, they could release something that is going to make a archetype or a piece of an archetype from like sets 1, 2, or 3 hyperly relevant. I mean, look at, I mentioned it earlier, but look at the support they gave Vegeta out of the anniversary box. It's not tier 1, but the Vegeta Secret Rare was the first card that I pulled in this game. Like, first pack I bought, pulled the Vegeta Secret Rare.
Wow.
I've never played it. I've never been able to put it on the field. And now with that stuff, it's easier than ever to play that. Like, I've actually played that card at this point.
You was played on me this past weekend. Sorry, that was a little side thing, but
yes,
of course, Jocko is always relevant as well when there's a bit of oppression in the combo step. So that's another card that everybody sort of forgets about that is relevant again, given the Bibbidi situation. So
there's all kinds of little techie stuff that is like that in the first like 3 or 4 sets.
What's the name on that one? Full Surveillance, Jocko?
That's the super combo. Right?
Yeah, what's the 3-drop blue Jocko's name? That when you combo with it, you can bounce something that in their combo area. That's not important. But there's a Kai that does it as well.
Yeah, there's a Kai that does it as well. And I mean, these were extremely relevant during the Draft Box 4 meta with Raiders Warcry when that was not oppressive, but when it was at its height.
Ultimate Judgment Jocko is the combo, one back to hand. West Kai Keeping Watch is the other. Now, they're only relevant on the defensive step. Like, they have no effect if you're an offensive player, but on the defensive step, they are absolutely, which is why I don't think that, like, the argument that, Bibbidi's a problem offensively. No, you can argue offense all day, but there are solutions to an offensive Bibbidi. There are no solutions to a defensive. So it's, I say no, but they're very limited to like green.
Yeah, pretty much. And very few cards in green at that.
And not widely playable cards. unless you put in like that 9-card Brawly package in every green deck you run.
Which can get awkward, to say the least.
Extreme.
But if you're playing Surge Broly, pretty good.
And there you go.
Anyone else got some opinions on game-breaking plays or combos?
Do we want to do sideboard? It's gonna be edited out. Or...
Welcome to the sideboard, everybody. We've got kind of an
interesting topic. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no.
I thought you had a button. I thought you had a
go
button
ahead.
for this.
I was waiting for the heart.
Oh, okay. Well, hold on. Let's go back. We'll bring it back in.
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the sideboard. All right.
Right. For the sideboard this week, what to do with damaged cards. We've got an interesting Reddit post. A guy has a, not first edition, but an original Dark Magician from Yu-Gi-Oh! It's completely beat up and coming apart at the seams. And people in the comments are giving him interesting suggestions on what to do with it and how to memorialize it. What do you guys do with your damaged cards that you just can't bring yourself to throw away?
Blue Eyes White Dragon. From the original like booster pack. My brother knocked over my Kool-Aid one day and it spilled all over that card. I kept that shit in the sleeve and I continued playing it. But it is lightly colored differently. And I still have it downstairs in my basement in that original deck that I built for it. I hang on to them.
I am not allowed to talk about this on the off chance that my mother or father listens, because when they realize that of the copious amounts of my childhood shit that is in their basement, that is part of it, I will just be implicating myself. So they were thrown away.
Oh,
Kind of an anecdotal experience related to this. Back when I played Yu-Gi-Oh really heavily, when Generation Force came out, Generation Force was a very transitional set for the game. It introduced the Xyz mechanic. And one of the more expensive Xyz cards in the entire set was a card called Levier the Sea Dragon. When this set came out, the card was like a $45, $50 card, had amazing interactions in the game. A guy was like, a guy that used to come to locals comes in and he's all glum and he's like, yeah, got into an argument with my best friend and he practically ripped my Levier the Sea Dragon in half. He's like, I think I'm gonna throw it away. I was like, don't throw it away. I'll give you $5 for it right now and play with it next week. So I bought a ripped Levier the Sea Dragon, taped it back together, sleeved it up, threw it in the extra deck, and I played with that Levier until I pulled a mint one. And then I think at that point, it just got put into like an old collection binder. But like, if you're sleeving your cards and the card's not like wadded up to the point of distinguishable in a sleeve, continue to play with it.
Like, for example, the Dark Edition card we're seeing right here. That's tied to this Reddit page or subreddit. Yeah. You can see that wear there. So my Blue Eyes White Dragon had something very similar to that because where it kind of got wet, it kind of flaked and had that the back of it was kind of fluffy. The fuzzy of the papers were just kind of exposed. So I just, like I said, put it in a sleeve, perfectly fine. You don't notice it. It doesn't distort the sleeve, doesn't make it poofier at all. And it's like, cool, I can still play with it, and I did.
Yeah.
Nice. So Fluff and Bancroft, you guys just keep playing with your damaged cards till you just can't anymore.
I also don't really, I personally don't trade. I don't really sell. So that's it, you know?
Yeah, and I'm kind of like that too. I'm not a value collector. Like when I trade or when I get, I'm not. Don't give me that look. I don't sit and look at a card and go, oh, it's scuffed. I don't want this card. Do I do that?
You're trying to foil out one of your decks right now.
I like to foil out decks, but that's not a value collector. If the card is not in near mint condition, I don't throw a huge fit about it. But if the card meant a lot to you, like, and I think that's the argument.
I do agree with that, and I think that's why I kept the Blue Eyes in my deck.
if it's a card that you love, then do something with it. Either continue to play with it or do an art project.
Yeah.
Stop! You're killing me. Go.
And like speaking of an art project, like on, and this is a magic one actually. My brother had posted this on his Facebook. It was someone had their entire basement, and they kind of tiled it, and I guess they coated it, but they were the lands for Magic.
Oh wow.
I'll send you the picture when I can find it. That way you kind of can show it on the screen during the video.
If I remember to edit it in.
Yeah, it's true.
While you're hunting for that, Tanner, do you mind if I pry into your answer a little bit more? Because that was cryptic.
The cryptic is that I keep everything to a hoarder's degree, and that there are boxes of cards that are literally worthless sitting in my parents' basement right now. You know, my journey of what to do with old cards has, um, I don't know, it's changed a lot, to be completely honest. As somebody who just recently sold a Victory Strike for $700, um, you know, it's like, okay, condition matters, but I don't know. I'm always about getting what is the value to you about something. You know, if something is old and beat up, but it matters to you, it has some sort of intrinsic worth to you, or maybe intrinsic's not the correct word, but it has value to you in some way, then just keep it. If you're kind of going with that whole philosophy, if it doesn't bring value to you, throw it out like a minimalist would. But for me personally, I think it all kind of stems back to the first time I bought Yu-Gi-Oh cards and bought Pokemon cards. Is, you know, my parents told me, "Oh, it's a flash in the pan. And these are going to be stupid." And I just laughed, because if I would have kept any of those cards in a halfway decent condition, they wouldn't have had to help me post college. I wouldn't have to live in their house. I would have had a nice trust fund to live off of. I just so am I mad about it? No, but in hindsight, I wish my parents would have gone the hyper other end of the spectrum and been like, these cards are going to be worth everything. Sleeve them. Like,
Yeah.
truth be told, I didn't even know sleeves were a thing until 2009. I was like, why do you put sleeves on a card? So, you know, my journey's a little bit different, but I think if it brings you value, keep it. I mean, I am the guy who took bulk commons out of a trash can at the Rusty Scabbard because I couldn't stand to see them be thrown away. So,
I
Well, you can do
commend
this
you.
floor project now.
yeah,
I just
exactly.
posted it to our stuff to look at.
Yeah, but that's sort of my thought. It's not really a straight answer, but at least it's a glimpse into my psychosis.
My mom used to collect, and I'll do this aside because based on your story, she used to collect the Star Wars cards growing up, and her dad threw them all away after she moved out.
Oh.
And like
I mean,
those had value.
so to piggyback off of your piggyback, to make a super ultimate mega piggyback,
We just need a blanket, wrap all these piggies in.
hell yeah, pigs in a blanket.
That deck can't play that deck anymore.
The it's funny you mentioned that, because my uncle, he was the oldest of a family of four. He uh he kept a Mickey Mantle rookie card in pristine condition, hidden under a compartment in the sink. My grandmother is a compulsive like cleaner. If she doesn't use it, it's tossed.
Oh
He
no.
comes he comes in for a trip and is
Oh,
like,
no.
Mom, what did you do with a box under here? She's like, I threw it away with everything else. We're
Oh.
talking, he said, the cards he had in there. To put it this way, he had a Mark McGuire rookie card back in the prime sitting on a table. So I think he said the estimated worth of that box that was thrown away was about a little under $1 million.
That hurt.
Oh my god!
Like,
That
now,
physically hurt.
yeah, he was a bit of a, I mean, I I don't know how truthful that was as far as like what was in there, but my dad or my father did confirm that he did at least have a Mickey Mantle rookie card. I don't know what that going price is anymore. I'm not very privy to the baseball market, but that $1 million mark might be really high, but I know Mickey Mantles go for thousands of dollars.
It'll help your
So,
student loans.
yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
Gosh.
So, on that note, don't cherish something so much that you hide it away and don't tell your mother about it, because then she'll throw it away thinking it's not anything important.
Your mother's sink is not the right place to hide value.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was one of those things where it's like, oh, this is a great spot, and you forget about it, and like years later, oh crap, I didn't get those cards. They're
Here,
gone. They're gone.
Just a quick little update there. What is a Mickey Mantle rookie card worth? 3.5 million currently.
Oh my god.
So, yeah,
Wow, my tummy hurts after that. Like,
yeah,
holy shit.
yeah. Not a good time.
I can't see.
Yeah.
Oh god.
So on that note, guys,
Can you give him a hug for me?
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
this is at least worth like 3 pennies of your lost $3.25 million.
it's yeah. I mean, the story to this day still like I think about the only thing I hid in my life was like my porn collection. The only thing that I'm going to be sad about is like the weird the weird hentai that I printed off back when I was 15. That's there. I'm going to be. It's a tragedy those got lost.
Now,
Yeah,
Time.
it's nowhere near Mickey Mantle level, but my parents put all of my Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So it was first edition Legend of the Blue Eyes White Dragon up until I want to say Force Breakers. I think it was Force Breakers. But no, it wasn't that high. Yeah, it was. So from that to that, so we're looking 13, 14 sets of first edition cards in a storage unit, and it got auctioned off when they lost the storage. It's
Somebody could have made an episode of Storage Wars about that one.
I'm pretty sure it was, and at the time, the cards were not considered collector's items yet. I don't think, but probably $6,000 or $7,000 of cards.
So it's important, guys. If your collectibles are important to you, tell your wife, your brother, somebody in your family that you can trust and has access to your stuff, because you don't know what might happen.
this sideboard got really dark.
It got really dark.
It got really dark really fast. All right, on that note, some shout outs. Shout out to all the parents out there who don't throw away expensive cards.
You guys
are heroes.
And shout outs to all the parents that lose all the really expensive cards.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
That's what my mom sends a picture. Every time she finds like a Yu-Gi-Oh card or Pokemon card line, she's like, "Is this worth anything?" Because it happened to her. And I'm like, "That's trash. Just throw that away. It's okay." But if she ever shows me, I'm like, I didn't know I had that. Yes, I'm getting that. Give me a second. Hoping that happens.
That's great.
As always, though, thank you, Fluff and Bancroft and Attack on Productions for hopping on and letting us be a part of the community with you guys.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Definitely check out their most recent deck profile. A really good time.
It's
really-
unprofessional.
very
It's a thank you to our subscribers.
Yes.
If you want 3 minutes of laughter, please go check it out. You
But-
hopefully will laugh.
But fair warning, it's rated U for unprofessional.
Rated U.
like a
I'm
W.
gonna make a new a thing that will rated R, rated PG-13. I'll do that, like rated U for unprofessional.
It's a t-shirt.
Wow.
It's a t-shirt. It's you unprofessional. Like, yes,
Yeah.
okay.
Like the ESRB logo, kind of.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
an EFRB logo, but it's rated U for unprofessional. I love
Yes.
it.
Nobody
Also-
take
I will
Nobody-
be working on
nobody
that.
steal that.
No,
With that
please,
being said, as well. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, guys.
no, please get that. Please, have.
I'll work on it tomorrow at work.
Let's do it. Let's get it on a website. I will buy it tomorrow, so it's copyrighted. Like,
Yeah. With that being said, though, if anybody is out there listening, send us your stories about maybe your collection, your older cards. We'd love to hear. We'd love to hear about that. I'd like to hear if you guys have any horror stories or positive stories.
Or if you have a basketball card that's worth 3.25 millions, comment with your name, address, social security, birthday below.
We'll come visit
Yeah. No, we're not going to come visit, but I just
in the
want to know.
night.
I'm gonna wait till you go to work. Oh, we need your safe combination too.
Yeah. What are important numeric digits in your world?
What's your mother's maiden name?
Right.
What route do you take to work?
I'm reading your tarot cards right now. Numerology says, what numbers are important to you? With that being said, Jake, I'll let you take it away.
Well, did you give them the email address? You said we could. They said we could.
Yeah, I'm letting you take it away.
All right, because I always
yeah.
So the address is contact tcgnews@gmail.com. I'm Jake. That was Tanner. That was Fluff and Bancroft, and we are
milling out.
Thanks, guys.
Later, y'all.
Peace.